Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. The book Consequence, written by yours truly, Vince Cole Muhammad. It was a guideline in a sense. The book was also a warning. It was a book of reasoning. It was a book of trying to prepare for what's about to come in the future. It was a book to show that in these days that we're living in, compassion is gone. Compassion for the wrong things are gone. Meaning, when society, well, put it like this, when the value of the dollar falls and money is tight and people are stressed and on the edge, then they don't have time for compassion when it comes to certain things. If you break into someone's home in the middle of the night, the homeowner is stressed. The homeowner doesn't have time to figure out if you grew up in a bad family home, meaning there was no parents in the home, and if there were parents in the home, they didn't participate within the child's life. They don't have time for that type of compassion. If you break in someone's home, if they have a gun, 9 times out of 10, they're going to shoot. They're not going to worry about what personal problems you may have within your life because they don't know you. And like I said, compassion is thrown out of the window in a society where you have so many people that's in economic distress. And so what leads from that is frustration, anger, stress, and lack of sleep. So you break in someone's home, they up anyway, stressing on the money. They would take that burden of life situations out on your ass. So don't bother people. If it's not yours, don't touch it. Your parents taught, grandparents, that was one of the staples. That was the reason why when you went in the store when you was younger, they would look at you and tell you, you better not touch nothing in this store. I'm not paying for nothing that you break. All the parents would tell their children that. You walk in the store playing around and reach out there and touch something and it break. You would catch a beating in the store. But actually, they were teaching you for a future date. Meaning, leave people's stuff alone. Because if you break it or break into it, there's consequences. So in the book Consequence, I make an attempt. But the reason why I made that attempt to show people that there are consequences to your actions. There's even consequences to your thoughts. There's consequences to what you say. And consequences, it's just the balance. Either you get a positive result or a negative result according to what you think, say, and do, your actions. You'll get either a positive or a negative result. And the reason being is because now we get into the makeup of a human being. Within the makeup of a human being, you have a brain. you have a pineal gland. And within that, the wiring of the brain is capable of holding an enormous amount of information, and it's capable of distinguishing between right and wrong, right? So the trick is, this is the trick. The trick is to say that, especially when they're dealing with minorities. See, the game was for a minority in order to keep one race to appear to be supreme. The object is to say, okay, we're going to label a certain group of individuals, certain races, as 3/5 of a human. They don't have the capability of understanding complex things, and this was the myth. But it's like the lie. They believe if you tell a lie enough times, then some people will take it as the truth. So they reinforce the lie. Look, we're not going to allow the blacks to learn how to read and write. We're going to keep this knowledge away from them. But yet at the same time, we're going to punish them and blame them for what they don't know. And then we'll say, well, if you were human like me, you'd know these things. Or they say, we're going to discourage you from reading certain parts of our history under the guise of it's too complex and it might fry your little brain, your peanut brain. It'll fry it, so you might need to stay away from certain types of knowledge. And it was all a game. I mean, we was set up from the word go, but okay. Now, in 2017, there's knowledge upon knowledge. I mean, it's knowledge in the internet, knowledge in books. You got Brother Farrakhan dropping knowledge and straight up 100% truth. And what's in that that leaves little room when you try to say that, or something happens and a person excuses, well, I didn't know. They already set you up with that when they said ignorance under the law is no excuse. Well, why ignorance under the law is no excuse? Because the law is written and you can read the law. But I'm not responsible for the black community, so I don't have time to make sure that they get a proper education or get at school what they didn't get at home. And that's simply because they don't see you as they see one of their own. You are, let's say you're a piece of meat in the sense, a meal ticket when it comes to certain supremacist mindset. You are a person who I have to teach because I'm getting paid to teach, but I'm not going into any intricate details, or I'm not going that deep into your mind to try to extract your brilliance, because if I do that, then I'm creating competition against my own race, is what they're saying. I'm not going to go delve deep into your mind and pull out the greatness of your history and ancestors and everything that you contributed to society, that and the fact and proof that you were on the planet with the first race on the planet. I can't go in there and pull that out and bring forth the light out of the darkness, because if I do that, then I'll set you on top of my people. And that's what some of these teachers are saying. But I can give you the basic minimum, and if you show signs of greatness, then I'll help steer you along, because it's in it for both of us, because I'll be considered as the great teacher because I went into the mind of what America has deemed as the savage, and I brought them, and I can showcase them to the world at how great my teaching techniques are, because look, I created a black male that's more knowledgeable and that is beneficial and useful towards this society. So give me my medal or my ribbon or my award. And that's what the supremacist teacher is saying. Meaning that whatever a young black man gets in his lifetime, either it's coming from out of love, and that's coming from the love of parents, or the love, or his own personal interest, or love in a particular subject, or the love of someone in the community who wants to see black men succeed and excel. And that's how you get it. That's why you had leaders such as Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Muhammad Ali, Marcus Garvey, because they wanted greatness for the whole black race. But I'm saying black men in particular, because black men were the builders, and the object is to get the mind turning again, to build again after a horrible experience in America during the slave period, where the mind was totally destroyed. And here goes some brain surgeons, is what I call them, because they went into a dead people, meaning when I say dead people, I'm talking spiritually dead, and that's understandably so, due to the fact that the trauma that the black man had to go through under the rule of a supremacist mindset that was within many men in America, many white men in America. And that trauma, that trauma went from everything to being murdered in front of the family, watching a man being mutilated, watching his wife being raped, watching himself, personally watching his family being stripped right from up under him, watching being miseducated, meaning being locked out of books and treated worse than animals in the field. And then one day he said, okay, you free, now go out and do something for yourself, make something of yourself. And he's saying, well, I need mental tools. I need the understanding and the know-how to do other than what I've been doing. It's almost like similar to being in the military in a sense, where you might have a MOS, let's say a infantry or something, and that's what you were trained to do, and then you come out the service and you try to apply that in the real world, and there's no signs that saying we need ex-infantrymen to run Wall Street. You see what I'm saying? That's the same thing as when Abraham Lincoln, quote unquote, freed the slaves. That's a discussion for another day. But quote unquote, freed the slaves and set them free, and that was it. You know, who was going to hire? With the deep racism that was going on and that was pertinent in this country. So as time moves forward, a mindset had been adopted that, the way to make it in America, and as you've seen the characteristics of the quote unquote ruling class of America, how you've seen personally the evils that they've done, then while you gathering what is America, or while you gathering the characteristics, the attitudes, how to become an American by examples of the ones who were calling themselves America, but was excluding the black race. When you look at all that and you say, okay, well, in order to get something in this country, I have to adapt these ways. If you have to scheme in a sense. You have to go by the saying, it's a dog-eat-dog world. I got to get mine. In other words, when you give a people a religion that teaches that the God is without, meaning the God is outside of the person, to where he's looking outside himself for the creator, then what you're saying is you look outside yourself and you look to other people for help, or depending on the mindset you have, you will look upon other people as the prey. But the thing is, you either looking outside of yourself for someone to help you, or you looking outside of yourself to prey upon somebody to take what you need for yourself. And that's that was a learned behavior that was picked up on. And then it spun out of control, and no one seems to know how, or is having a hard time trying to put that genie back in the bottle. I mean, they created their own monster that they have to deal with. Then you have people who has knowledge and is teaching the right way, or let's say they are removing that slave mindset up out of people who were once enslaved in this country, and they're replacing it with an I can do mindset, or a do for self mindset, and setting people free literally, not just on paper. So that's what that's about. You have to look within and understand who you are, and understand the powers and capabilities you have in order to achieve whatever goal you set out to achieve. And that's what that is. But we've been miseducated purposely, for one, so there won't be a lot of competition, and two, there won't be a lot of competition, meaning 1 and 2 is the same, meaning that what they call ruling class elite want to keep everything the way they see it, and they want to stay in power. They want to create this image of rulership, but in order to do that, they have to have the opposite of someone. They have to have someone to rule or point to say, hey, look, I'm great, I have all the knowledge. And if you want an example of someone that's downtrodden, beat up, with no knowledge, and take a look at these people. And that's why at a period in time where every time black people was on a quest to rise, there was always an obstacle or a law changed, or you can't do this, or a lie was put into place, and discrimination and whatnot. And the reason why you had some laws put on the book is because people knew the nature of the supremacist, that if you put it in his hands solely, he wasn't going to render the right decision. He was going to judge out of prejudice, as they still do today. And what they're saying is, and there's not enough intelligent blacks to catch all of his racism. But he was sadly mistaken, because do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's universal law. That law been in existence for man. So that's a natural law. And so if you're a natural being, then you're going to want to be treated with truth or freedom, justice, and equality. Naturally. So that's what that's about. So you've been listening to Verbal Pick Radio. Check out the book Consequence by Vince Cole Muhammad. You can go online. You can go to Arthur House. You can go to, you can just Google it. Get your copy. We're out.